Monday, everybody. Welcome back to the Fumble Live. So glad that you're here with us today. We are talking about Kyrie Irving and the little altercation that he got into with Dennis Schroeder during the game on Saturday night. And we are also discussing Antonio Brown and his current relationship with Juju Smith-Schuster. But before we dive into this news, make sure you subscribe to our channel, tap the bell for notifications, give this video a thumbs up, and leave a comment below. Now here's the Fumble Squad. I'm Devin Howard. You can find me on Instagram as @DevinHoward.
Morning, everybody. I'm Jackie Ray. You can follow me on Instagram and Twitter @JRayTheFanatic.
Now, Jackie, before we dive in, we of course have to do our little weekend catch-up. I know you had a bit of a struggle day on Saturday, but how was the rest of your weekend?
The rest of my weekend was funny because I revisited the whole trying to watch the Rudy Gobert story. And so I was like, let me just Google it. So I Googled it, and then it had a link. It said, go to ESPN+. So I clicked the link. I do have ESPN+. And then it took me back to the trailer. So I've only been able to see the trailer. So I finally just added ESPN on Twitter and Instagram and was like, I probably am the only one that's let you know this, but this link does not work. I'm trying to watch this. I didn't respond though, so I'm still trying.
Oh my God, Jackie, this is so funny. I saw that on your Instagram story. You're out there adding ESPN to watch the Rudy Gobert story. My God, that is so much dedication. Good for you. I hope that it works out. Maybe you just need to call ESPN customer service, and they're probably going to be like, wait, what? What documentary are you talking about?
You're our first call. I'm like, yes, it's just me, but I still want to see it.
Okay, Rudy Gobert needs to follow you on Instagram and Twitter or something, because you make up, I think, the entirety of his most dedicated fan base. Sorry that you haven't been able to find it yet, but hopefully you do, Jackie. I'm rooting for you. We're all rooting for you. My weekend was very, very busy, you guys. I did so much stuff. I had a friend in town from Arizona, so I was playing tour guide most of the time. And then yesterday I deep cleaned my apartment. Best feeling ever to just clean everything. I absolutely love it. So, I feel very accomplished and ready for the week with my nice clean apartment. But for now, let's dive into the news, okay? I want to talk about Kyrie Irving and Dennis Schroeder. So during the third quarter of Saturday night's game between the Lakers and the Nets, Kyrie and Dennis were arguing with each other, and they were really getting into each other's faces. The refs and their teammates were trying to separate them, but that wasn't enough to even stop the fighting. Both of them were slapped with technical fouls, and then they were ejected from the game when that didn't even make their argument subside. So here's some footage of them going at it on the court. You can tell that emotions are running high. It's very tense. Their teammates are stepping in. And then apparently the issue at hand was that Dennis called Kyrie the N-word. Leo, can we play that next clip for us with the sound?
Technical, could be a double technical. Zach Zarba, who's the crew chief, trying to...
The referee not calling fouls on Irving in one-on-one situation.
So Kyrie is visibly upset about it, and I don't blame him. He actually took to his Twitter account to express his feelings about the situation. He wrote, "The N-word is a derogatory racial slur. It will never be a term of endearment, reclaimed, flipped. Never forget its foul and true history. Throw that N-word out the window right alongside all of those other racist words used to describe my people. We are not slaves or ends." And then after all of this went down, it was later announced that Kyrie was going to be sitting out of tonight's game due to personal reasons. People, as they do with Kyrie whenever he chooses to sit out, people were trolling him. Like this person tweeted, "Kyrie's definitely the employee that's not asking you to take PTO. He's telling you." This other person tweeted, "Dennis got him shook, LMAO." And then there was another tweet that says, "Whenever the Nets get their heads whooped, Kyrie takes vacations." So people were having a little bit of fun at Kyrie's expense, but I want to dive into whether or not Kyrie is justified in skipping tonight's game due to personal reasons. Was his reaction warranted? So Jackie, I'd like to talk first. Do you understand why Kyrie was upset by this interaction with Dennis?
Yeah, and I posted that to my Instagram and I added Dennis and I said, Dennis, I love you the most. I really do. But Kyrie's actually right in this moment. I said something not too long ago on this show. I said that Black people needed to stop using that N word because it is a terrible word. It is a word that was given to us to shame us during slavery. It is a word that is still used to try to shame us and make us feel less than. And I get it to a certain extent because I will admit that when I'm in a room and it's just all Black people and that word is flying around, it doesn't faze me. But the second there's a non-Black person in that room, it phases me because you hear it too much in our music. People think it's okay to say it. We just saw that video of a white woman at a counter, like a Starbucks or something like that, and she's got biracial kids. But she used that term to shame a Black man that was behind the counter. And I think the reason why we see that so much is because of the excuse. First of all, I don't understand why anyone who's not Black would want to say it. That's weird to me. But that's often the excuse that people hear. But I understand 100% what Kyrie is saying. You can't call me that. I don't care what nationality you are. I don't care if you are Black. You cannot call me the N-word because now we're gonna have problems. Period. And it's just so I respect now. In this moment, I think Dennis is younger. He's part of that generation that uses that term all the time. He's probably even unfazed when he hears someone who's not Black use it, unless it's in a aggressive way. I think this was more of a teachable moment for Kyrie to just kind of call him to the side and say, hey, this word is not. You can't reclaim hate. You can't do that. This is not a word you should ever want to use. And I think it was definitely a teachable moment for Kyrie to, in that moment, say, yo, you're going to have to holler at me after this game. And then take time after the game and speak to him on why that word is terrible, no matter who uses it. So I do see both sides of it. I definitely see what Dennis was doing. Dennis was kind of like, bruh, what? Get out of my face. You out here sweating. His breath probably smelled horrible at that point in the game, too. So I'm sure, get out of my face. So I understand where Dennis was coming from to just kind of tell him to fall back. But he told him to fall back using a racial slur. And I understand why Kyrie got upset about that. But again, as the vet on the floor, older person on the floor, I would have loved for him to use this as a teachable moment and explain why we as Black people, I know it's going to take another 100 years for us to get it out of our vocabulary. But it would have been great to see him use this as a teachable moment and to explain why this word shouldn't be used. As far as him taking time off today, this one does look bad. I'm never mad at Kyrie for taking time off because he got the time. They're doing great. No matter if Kevin Durant is out, if he's out, whoever's out, they'll be fine. So it's not like he's letting his team down. But this one does look bad because you had this altercation with a younger guy about a word you didn't like being used, and you tweeted about it, and now you're taking this time off. I think you continue that narrative and use it as a teachable moment, and you played it. It doesn't make sense to not play to me.
Yeah, Jackie, I think that you really addressed a lot of super valid points, and I like what you had to say. I know that my opinion doesn't matter, but when it comes to the N-word, I agree with you. I just wish it didn't exist. I wish people didn't use it. I understand that there is a motivation to reclaim it and reclaim that part of history, but I also think, like, even me hearing it, if I hear it in a song or whatever, it always kind of gives me that, like, moment of, like, oh, I just don't like it. I don't like hearing it. And I know that I'm not even one to talk. Like, I'm not even one to have an opinion about that. But I agree with you on that. But as far as sitting out of the game, I also think that it's not the best look for Kyrie because people are always saying that he is, too soft and too emotional and, he needs to toughen up. So it's not the best look, but if the Nets feel like they can be out Kyrie and Kyrie doesn't care, then I guess who am I to judge, their choice in doing that? And then, so as far as the back and forth, do you agree that Kyrie took it too far on the court, or do you understand why he did react in that way? Because tensions are running high when they're in the heat of the moment of the game.
I definitely understand why he reacted like that, and I think anybody who kind of follows Kyrie and the things that he posts and how deep he is in he just absorbs all things cultural, and he's about that life. He's kind of like me in that way, so he's about that life. So I definitely understand his reaction. And I'm not mad at his initial reaction. I think once the ref steps in and gives you a technical, you do take a beat and you realize, where your head is at. You're in the game. And again, this is a teachable moment. I don't know if Kyrie is at that point yet where he really, and that's hard to say because he is a good guy. He does a lot for a lot of people. So I know he wants to impact people's lives, but I don't know why. I would have loved to see him use this as a teachable moment. And again, this is one of those situations that Kyrie might legit have something going on that is just bad timing, that coincides with coming right after what happened with he and Dennis, and he legit needs to take this time off. But because we've seen this so often where him taking time off kind of coincides with either them not winning or him being in his feelings about something, it's just not a good look. I'm not mad at it, again, because I don't feel like him or KD need to really worry about that right now. They're not letting the team down if they do need time off. But I understand, and I think we all have initial reactions to situation. I am the first one that I've stood up in situations like, what'd you just say to me? And it looks like it's about to get really confrontational, because it is about to get really confrontational. And then I'll take that beat like, okay, I'm in public. I'm sorry, what did you say? You know what I mean? And like dial it back and be like, but my initial reaction is like, oh no, it's about to go down. But you do have to, and so I'm never mad at anyone in their initial reaction. Where I get upset is how you finish it. You can start here, that's fine, but you're an adult now. You need to realize you're in an adult situation and finish it properly. So I think he could have dialed that down a lot quicker. And again, he missed the opportunity to really impact Dennis and let him know really where he was coming from. I'm not saying that Dennis would have embraced it and stopped using the word, but I do think had he taken that moment, Dennis would have at least understood it and been like, okay, bro, you're right. My bad. And then they could have just moved on,
Yeah, I'm with you on that. I think that Kyrie's tweet was really important. I appreciated the message that he sent out. So at least there's that, and maybe if Dennis reads that, or someone else reads Kyrie's tweet, maybe they'll rethink using that word again in the future. So hopefully there is a bit of enlightenment to come out of this whole tense interaction. Now, switching gears a little bit, before we move on into our next update about Juju and Antonio Brown. So, of course, the Lakers won that game, and it was a huge win for us against the like, outrageous, loved it, a very celebratory moment, but now I'm going to play devil's advocate here. Was it an even matchup? Because they were out, Kyrie and KD was on minutes restriction. We were obviously out Anthony Davis, LeBron, and Kuz. So some people are saying, well, of course the Lakers won. The Nets were out their stars, but the Lakers also didn't have their stars. So was it an even playing field or not?
I still think the Nets at that moment were better than what I thought we had on the court. I didn't even watch that game because when I looked at the lineup and I was like, yeah, no, I'm not going to get my feelings hurt. I'm just going to do my hair. So that's what I did instead, But I had no intentions of watching that game. So then as I didn't even tune in, I think, until late in the third, early in the fourth, because then I started getting all these notifications of what, and the lead only changed like 3 times, I think. No, twice or something like that, and was tied 3 times. So it was a tight matchup. So what I said in another podcast yesterday, I need to see what they do against the Knicks, because the Knicks are playing very, very well. But still, the Knicks, as well as they're playing, they're not the team that people are talking about. People are talking about the Nets and maybe the 76ers and the Clippers, because the Clippers are now on a 5-game winning streak. So I need to see how they play against the Knicks, because there are those days where teams just kind of try some stuff. They might have been like, okay, the Lakers aren't a stacked squad. Let's try some stuff. Let's figure out some plays. Let's kind of experiment with some things. So I definitely don't think that this is a sign that, oh my God, the Lakers can pull it off without LeBron. No, we can't. So this is good, because we are slipping in the standings. And I had said if we fall all the way to a play-in, now we're really in a situation. So it was good to see that they can pull it off. But no, this was more of the Nets didn't play as well as they should have, more than, although Horton Tucker and Trez looked amazing together. I can't even say enough about that duo right there. So as long as they continue to do well. And I see you, Jeremiah, in the chat. He says nobody gives a damn about the Knicks. That's true, but you should. Because they and I know historically we just don't give a damn about them, but they out here flying well under the radar right now and playing very well. So all I'm saying is pay a little bit more attention because they're gonna be the one to sneak up on people. I'm telling you.
I just want to say Chris left the fumble right before he had his chance to gloat in front of us. We trolled him relentlessly about being a Knicks fan, and this really could have been his moment to shine over here because we wouldn't be able to say very much, but that's a topic for a different day. Let's dive into our news about Juju and Antonio Brown. So Juju Smith-Schuster and Antonio Brown were a dynamic duo on the Steelers, but things fell apart when Antonio forced his way off of the team. So we all remember that after Antonio left the Steelers, he had went through quite a few challenges, struggled to kind of find footing in the NFL, but he landed with the Bucs and obviously ended up winning a Super Bowl. But he did have that very public fallout with Juju, and he even called the wide receiver a bum on social media. And now, so Juju's talking about it. He appeared on the Michael Irvin podcast, and he was asked about his relationship with Antonio Brown and where they stand today. And he explained that he wishes that he could talk to his former teammate and patch things up, smooth things over. But actually, Antonio Brown has him blocked on every single social media platform. And, for him to go out there and win a Super Bowl, congrats to him. And he keeps doing it. Now, I feel like this is kind of an interesting situation to be in where he's saying he wants to patch things up. He would love the opportunity to talk to him, but he can't because he's blocked. But, you could use Google Chat. You can, there are other ways to get in touch. So if it really was that important, he could find a way, use somebody else's phone. He's got enough money to even get a whole new phone number if it really meant that much to him. So I think that maybe he's also somewhat okay with just leaving things as they are. But Jackie, do you think it's time for these two to make up, or is this Hall of Fame pettiness that you love?
I mean, look, when I block you, you stay blocked. I've literally had situations where I've blocked somebody and then, we see each other out and then we kind of reconcile and they go, "Oh, are you going to unblock me?" No, I'm not, because once you are blocked, you're blocked, because I don't just trust that whatever caused you to be blocked in the first place, I don't trust that you are not going to revisit that, and I don't want to have to re-block you, especially on Facebook, because when you block somebody on Facebook, if you unblock them, you got to wait, I think it's 48 hours before you can block them again, and if you are stupid within that 48 hours, I can't block you. So no, once you are blocked, for me, there's one person in the history of my life that I have unblocked, and that's a friend of mine from Saipan. We both kind of blew up at each other, and I let that one go and unblocked him, and then we've been friends ever since. But for the most part, no. But you're right. You can get a Google Voice number. You can go right now and put in Google Voice, get you a number, and call them from there. Now, granted, when Google Voice calls, it does say, who's calling or whatever, but you could do that. You could email. I still haven't figured out how to. I've figured out how to put people in my spam messages, but I haven't figured out how to block their emails entirely. So if you really wanted to get to talk to him, you would. But I think in Juju's defense, he probably doesn't think it was that big a deal. He posted something with Antonio Brown in the background with him making this amazing catch that said, "I'm ready." And that to Antonio Brown signaled some level of disrespect. But Juju had also said that he thought, Antonio Brown, if the fallout hadn't happened, them being on the team together would have been amazing. So he's supposed to be ready. It is his job as a wide receiver to be ready. But no, if Antonio Brown feels like there was something else said, I feel like it has to be bigger than that. But it is Antonio Brown we're talking about, so maybe not. But once you blocked with me, you stay blocked. So enjoy that blockedness.
Do you think that Antonio Brown is even aware that he still has Juju blocked, or is it possible he did all of that in the heat of the moment and doesn't even remember?
Definitely. I've had people come up to me and say, "Oh, I've been trying to contact you, but you blocked me." Oh, did I? Because, once you blocked everywhere. You blocked on social media and you blocked in my mind. I no longer think of you. You're not an issue for me. So I forgot. So I think Antonio Brown knows now because he's seen this. So it'd be interesting to see if he would unblock him now. But before Juju talked about this, Antonio Brown ain't thought about Juju at all. I promise you he has not.
Yeah, especially now, especially after a Super Bowl win, teaming up with Tom Brady, getting his life right. He's not thinking about Juju. Just because I'm the type of person that likes to see everybody happy and positive, I think it would be nice if these two were able to reconcile and move on. But, you know, the drama is kind of fun as well. And if they were able to move past from all of their troubles, we wouldn't have this story to talk about. And I like hearing about social media drama and people blocked. I like, Jackie, what you said about blocking people online, but also in your mind. I need to get better at doing that because sometimes these negative comments that we get live in my mind rent-free, and I hate to admit that, but, you know, something I'm working on. On that note, let's wrap up Need to Know News. Jackie, will you take us into the post-up?
Yes, let's get into the post-up. I'm excited for this first one. Not really. I shouldn't say I'm excited for this first one because I'm actually, y'all know I love me some Joker. But he out here, he was sort of mad, but I don't know. You guys just kind of got to see it. But the Celtics went on a 40-8 run during the fourth quarter against the Denver Nuggets. It was insane. I can't remember the last time I saw a 40-8. Somebody need to step up and play some defense or score or something like that. But in the fourth quarter, Jokic was on the sideline. They were in the huddle. He was at the end on the bench, kind of isolated, not even looking their way. So take a look at this first post and kind of see how this went down. So I don't know if you could see him there. He's not into it. He's just kind of, they're all in the huddle and he's done. So I get this, to be honest. I get the game is pretty much over at this point. But people drug him for this. People said that it was not a good look for him. We always hear this when guys are sitting on the sideline away from their team. But this guy says, imagine doing that at your job tomorrow during a meeting your supervisor called, and then imagine if you still have that job on Tuesday. I mean, I've literally sat in the back of the room in meetings when I've worked at corporate jobs and not paid an ounce of attention and still went back to work on Tuesday. So it is fully possible. But again, people just stayed in their feelings on this one. Dude missed 3 shots in a row in the fourth quarter and threw a temper tantrum. That is not entirely what happened. But, you know, let's keep going because I think I have one more person that is still all upset. And he said this is the logical person in the situation. He was literally told by Malone that he is out and will not go back in the game. You could have seen the hand gesture where Malone showed him to move away from the rest on TV if you watched the game. Now, I didn't see this hand gesture that told him to go sit down at the end of the bench, but I did see Malone tell him, you know, he was out for the rest of the game. And so I see how in his mind, he's probably just thinking, you know, what's the point? But I do think in this moment, you still want to be around your teammates, but this user says the same thing. Game was already over. Malone knew it too. Not saying I'm happy he did that, but he didn't fail his teammates. He was +9 in an 18-point loss. So maybe as one of the leaders on the team, I do kind of understand why this is a bad look. You should be in that huddle. I don't know if I want to say encouraging the guys because that game was over, but maybe still be, I don't know. Devin, what do you think about all this?
I mean, I don't think it's worth people getting so up in arms about. I think that when you look at that from, you know, okay, so based on your example, Jackie, where you said you've been in corporate meetings where you sit in the back and then you still go back to work the next day and it's not a big deal. That's fine. I think we've all done that kind of thing before, but we're not doing that on a national stage. So I think that that's the big difference there. But yeah, I mean, I honestly don't really feel like it's that big of a deal. And I don't think that when people say he failed his teammates, that that's accurate either. I don't know. I think that people are they're just kind of blowing it up for no real reason.
Yeah, I've seen this happen. Right. I've seen LeBron sitting on the end, you know, when he is hurt and then, you know, all the teammates are lined up. But then when the teammates get up and go stand in the huddle, he still stays in his seat, which he was in the first place. And then it's all, oh, he's not close to his teammates. What does this mean? It means I stayed in my seat. So it's never as big as we make it out to be. And it was the 40-point run. You might need to take a mental break. I get what you're saying. Like maybe not take that mental break on a national stage, but sometimes when somebody is sitting down and not having a full on temper tantrum, I'm okay with it. It just is what it is. But let's move on to this next one because this next one is fun. I think Warriors fans are going to love this because seeing this kind of chemistry between Klay and Stephen Wardell Curry has got to make you happy. But this is definitely a boat outfit. Take a look.
Yo, I'm on a boat. I'm on a boat. Everybody look at me because I'm sailing on a boat.
Okay, so one of the things I love about this video, aside from it's corny and adorable, is that song does not just go, everybody look at me, I'm on a boat. It's I'm on a MFing boat. And Steph is such the goody two-shoes. He's like, everybody look at me, I'm on a boat. He is just so straight-laced, and it's so cute to me. Devin, what do you think of this video?
I like that Steph Curry does the radio version, the non-explicit version. Like, of course, out of everybody, Steph is going to be the one that naturally makes up lyrics so that it's not going to be as offensive or vulgar or whatever it is. Because I listened to that just now when you played that, and I was like, is that how it goes? Because this whole time I've been singing it, I'm on a mother effing boat. Like, did I mess it up? But no, you're right. Steph just did the radio edit. So, yeah.
It's just Steph. You just can't get mad at Steph. And let me tell you, Steph also helped the Warriors in making this next moment very, very, very amazing. I have no words for this except for way to go Warriors, way to go Steph. This is amazing. So there's a gentleman by the name of Aaron Taylor who spent 26 years in prison. But while he was in prison, he fell in love with play calling, which is crazy. So I want to show you some tweets. So this tweet says, Aaron Taylor spent the last 26 years in San Quentin State Prison. That's one of the worst, you guys. And during that time, he fell in love with play-by-play calling of basketball games. He was released recently and invited by the Warriors to be a guest announcer for yesterday's game versus the Houston Rockets. So I blew up that one that you probably can't. But this is literally him in prison doing play-by-play calling for basketball games. And I just think that this is so amazing. This is a really good thing. So there's a clip of the whole thing that I want to kind of show you the whole thing because it's very inspirational. It's very touching. And this is something the Warriors did not have to do for any reason. There's no reason why you would reach out to an ex-con. But the fact that they did this to, make this man's dreams come true is really amazing to me. So take a look.
Moment just a few seconds ago, Stephen Curry going over to Aaron Showtime Taylor, and some very nice words. And then more importantly, when you score 38, normally you're going to be the player of the game and be the interview. But Steph, let's step aside for Aaron Taylor for a second. Tell us, man, you knocked the intros out of the park. What was it like being the PA announcer for the Warriors tonight?
Hey, man, this is, like I keep saying, this is surreal.
I love it. I love it.
I mean, we know your story, Aaron. Getting out of San Quentin, developing that relationship with the Warriors, killing it in terms of how you handled all the courtside games with the Warrior executives, and to be out and have served your time and to have this great opportunity and make the most of it. I mean, this is Hollywood, man. This is you just seizing your moment.
No, I worked hard, in 26 years to rehabilitate myself. And in the process of doing that, I just embraced the attitude that I could be more than what I was, And once I embraced the attitude that I could be more than what I was, then it was time for me to tell other people, you can be more than what you think you are.
That's right.
That is such a beautiful message. I had to play that whole thing because that whole seeing Steph pat him on the back and said, this is your moment, embrace it. And just the total support that the Warriors gave this man, because it's hard. One of the reasons why people are repeat offenders is because they feel hopeless when they come out. Nobody wants to give them a chance. Nobody wants to believe that they're really rehabilitated. And for him to say, I worked really hard to rehabilitate myself, to be something different than who I was. I think this is a beautiful thing. And so shouts out to the Warriors for showing that not only did he rehabilitate himself, but they were willing to give him a chance to do something that he loved and worked hard on doing. I can't say anything but good things about this. This was So beautiful. So shouts out to the Warriors. I love this. And shouts out to Steph for standing right beside him and making this moment wonderful. So let's go on to this next one, because even though I obviously believe that people deserve a second chance and they can be rehabilitated, I think sometimes people are just lying. And I think that KD is one of those people, because he said this. Let me show you this post of what he said. He said, I want to be a great basketball player, not to be chasing some stuff that the humans created in a ring or a gold ball. So, no, that does not sound right to me, because you left a team. You left OKC to go to the Warriors, and the Warriors you couldn't beat. And then you're in Brooklyn, and you got all the Thanos. You snapped your fingers like Thanos and got all the Infinity players. I don't believe you, sir. And I thought maybe it would just be me, and then I'd be like a lone person out because I'm not a huge fan of KD. But no, no one is buying this. This guy, perfect response. He said, wait, but didn't humans create basketball? So yeah, if you don't care about what humans created, why are you still playing, sir? We don't believe you. And this one says, nah, Durant got to be trolling, which he does do that. So perhaps this is him trolling in some way. And then this one just says, BS. If he just wanted to see how good he could be, he'd have gone to a team like the Knicks or Bulls or Kings or Cavs or Wizards, instead of his last two stops being one with already established superstars and one where he recruited multiple superstars. There's nothing KD has done to prove that this statement is true. So I don't believe you. Devin, do you believe him at all?
Absolutely not. You know what I think happened here? Like, this doesn't even sound like KD said it. Like, this seems like maybe something his publicist put out there. But you know what I think happened here is he probably saw how Russell Westbrook was getting so much praise for what he said a week or 2 weeks ago about how he feels like a champion already just because he was able to make it into the NBA and have the career that he has. And it showed so much humility, and it was a really like powerful thing for him to say. And people were obviously giving Russell this standing ovation, this applause for having that attitude. And I think KD saw that and was like, I kind of want some of that. So he came out and said that he doesn't care about chips. Like, come on, KD, and all the NBA players, you do.
Right. If anybody does, it's you, sir. And if I had to bet, I would bet $5 good that KD can't even spell humility. He has no idea how to spell that word. I just don't believe it. So let me. Good try though. Good try, but no, we're not buying it. But let's go on to this next one, because I feel like this is why some of you guys are here, which is interesting to me, because this is one of those things that I'm not entirely sure why it matters, but it does. So let's take a look, because here we go. Devin Booker, keeping up with Devin Booker. I love this title because, you know, it's this Kardashian curse. He's playing with what? Is it Kylie? One of them. Let's take a look. Kylie. Yes, he's playing with Kylie. And so here we go. I don't know. I think we have some sound on this one, because at the end he does get super excited.
Yeah!
Oh my God. So I'm going to go to Devin, because y'all know I do not care. Why does this matter?
Honestly, Jackie, I wish I could tell you why it matters, but I don't know. I would hope that he would win this kind of game. It would be really sad if Kylie was the one walking away winning. I don't know why this matters.
So they are dating, right? Obviously.
No. That's Kendall. It's Devin Booker and Kendall, but this was Kylie.
Oh, okay. See, I don't keep up with Kardashians or dating or any of that. So obviously, go ahead, Devin.
What this does show is that D-Book he's been working his way into the Kardashian clan this whole time. We saw that he received an invite to Kim Kardashian's private island birthday party back in like the winter or fall, whenever that was, with Tristan Thompson, which love seeing that. But he now is obviously good friends, I guess, with Kylie. But the thing that I think we need to be wondering about here is not why does this matter? Is this going to turn into the Kardashian curse for D-Book?
Oh, that's what I've been wondering too. Because yeah, you know how that goes. I see Fierce Soul 85 in the chat, so I'm just gonna leave him a quick little comment because he don't like to mess with sisters. Like Yeah, I don't forget. I'm petty. So yeah, here we go. Let's go on to this next one because this next one is definitely beautiful. I feel like all the love is going around in the NBA right now. So the Timberwolves made this beautiful gesture to Karl Towns' mom, who we all know passed away because of complications due to the coronavirus. And they had this beautiful seat with flowers, and Timberwolves honored Jacqueline Towns by reserving her a seat, which I thought was absolutely beautiful. And then the other thing that I thought was beautiful too is the Timberwolves ended up winning this game because Zach LaVine couldn't make the final shot, but we know that they used to be teammates. And so I thought this moment between Karl Sr. and Zach LaVine and Kat was so beautiful at the end. So I wanted to make sure you guys got to see that as well. Take a look.
17, nobody happier than Karl Towns Sr. as his wife honored here tonight by the Wolves, and Karl Anthony Towns able to do his mom proud.
And here comes Zach LaVine to come say hello to Big Karl. See the love there between those three. Man, I'd love to have seen that.
Yeah, would have loved to have seen that.
Me too, man.
I love this. I love this moment where, you know, the game is over, but they played together. Obviously had a great relationship with that family. And I'm sure that hurts all the time. And seeing that his mom's jersey up there, that would have pulled at my heartstrings the whole entire game. So I don't know. He's been such a hero, such a warrior doing this whole thing and just going out there and playing every night. I would have crumbled at least 3 times by now. So shouts out to him for sure. I thought this was very, very beautiful. But now let's go on to my boy, Jameis Winston, because here's somebody I don't understand why y'all just always have to clown him and shade him. And a lot of y'all don't work out, because working out in the sand or working out in water is so difficult. It's not easy. But here's my boy Jameis out here getting this workout in the water, and I think it's a great workout. And Jeremiah, it was 33 touchdowns, 30 interceptions. Get it correct, y'all. If y'all gonna throw numbers out there, throw the right numbers out. But that workout is it's intense. I've done that before, and I don't know how long he did it, but it's very you will be sore because those things catch all the water, so you have to push against the water. But people don't seem to know how to work out in the water, because they came from my boy. They said, why he always doing the dumbest looking workouts? Why is that a dumb looking workout? I don't understand. Is this going to make him not throw interceptions? Well, first of all, when he did play with the Saints, he did not have that interception problem. So when he started, he was fine. So that problem probably has been corrected by good coaching and staying under the tutelage of Drew Brees. But good try. Let's go ahead. And this one said he looked goofy. I think there's one person in here who actually understands the workout and what that means. Here we go. It says it's actually a really good workout for the shoulder. Water resistance is really good for the body. It is. It gives you great resistance, low impact, so you don't have to worry about anything kind of jarring your joints. If you don't know how to work out in the water, find somebody who does, because it is a really good workout. And he's definitely building up shoulder strength. So come on, guys, use some common sense when you see my boy out here working out, because he is actually doing a really good workout. But this next one is the one I did want to spend some time talking about, because I think it's a really ingenious, a really great idea. And I just want to kind of see what you guys think in the chat. So the University of Central Florida, I'm going to post this tweet on Twitter that says, this is a really neat idea. The University of Central Florida jerseys for the spring game feature their Twitter username. So it's not their names on the back of their jersey. It's their social media handles. I think this is 100% a great idea for a couple of reasons. One, we now live in a society where your social media really can turn out to be very, very lucrative for you. If the more followers you have, the more you can build your brand, the more that sponsors want to come in and say, hey, just wear this, we'll pay you to do that. And we've talked over and over and over again about these kids being able to build their brand and get money for that. And so I feel like this is just a step to allow them to do that. So I actually agree with this next user 100% when he says that this is a great idea, because this is how you get out in front of the NIL changes and help kids promote themselves. Very smart and forward thinking. I agree with this. I just kind of want to know what you guys think. I don't know if they're going to continue this and for how long, but I love this. So tell me what you guys think in the chat. Devin, I want to go to you though. Do you think that this is a great way for them to kind of help these kids build their brand and move forward and hopefully get sponsorships and get some money because they need it out there. So do you think this is a good idea?
Okay, so to be totally honest, when I first saw this, I didn't like it. From a visual and design standpoint, looking at the jerseys, I felt like it looked cluttered. I felt like I couldn't really tell who was who. There was just too much going on. But then when you dive deeper and you think about the impact that it could have on these athletes and how they will be able to build their brands and how it could end up being a good moneymaker for them and a good way to get attention on their social media profiles so that they are able to accept brand deals and get paid well for them, it obviously makes sense. And I can't sit here and say that I think it's a bad idea. But if I'm just looking purely at it from an aesthetic standpoint, I don't love the way it looks. I think it just looks kind of cluttered. And that's my only issue. Like, are people really going to be able to look at that from the stands and see, a Twitter handle and follow? I don't know. Like, I'm just not sure how much of an impact it's going to have for people who are viewing in person. And also, like, for me personally, I think if I were watching a football game and there was somebody that I wanted to follow on Twitter, I wouldn't necessarily try and look at it on their jersey. I would just type the player's name and their Twitter, Twitter and Google, and then follow it from there. So I guess it takes one step out of that, but I can't say it's a bad idea. I think it is forward thinking. I just wish there was a way to do it where it didn't look so cluttered.
Yeah, and I agree with that because that was my first thought. Even in the tweet that I just posted, you can't really tell what their social media handles are. You can't really read it. You can see the @ and that's really all you can make out after that, especially someone like mine is J-Rig the Fanatic, and it rolls off the tongue, but I actually tried to get a t-shirt made with it one time, and it's too long. It's just way too long to have it on a shirt. So I definitely agree with that. But like I said before, sometimes when you have an idea, even if it's a bad idea, it kind of sparks new ideas. So maybe now this will lead to another idea. Like, I don't know, maybe and I don't even know locally when they show the games, just put their name and then their handle right beside it on the lower third, maybe not on the back of their jersey, because you're absolutely right. Can't read it at all. So, but I still think it's a good idea. They're trying, and that's a big deal. So I love that they're trying. So let's move on to this next one, because this one is hilarious to me because Ebane Bridges, she showed up to her weigh-in scantily clad. And that was all the talk going into her bantamweight bout against Shannon Courtney. And that it was a great fight. If you didn't see it, it was a great fight. But y'all see this. Y'all see how she showed up in her bra and panties to weigh in. And so ultimately she did lose that fight, but it wasn't because it wasn't a hard fought battle. It was a great fight. So if you have a chance, if you didn't see it, go back and watch it. But this is how she looked before the fight, and this is how she looked after. Bam. Cartoon eye.
Oh my God, that makes me nauseous. Ew.
Hey, that's she about that life, so I appreciate her posting it, but that is hilarious. That looks like that Wile E. Coyote when you get hit in the head and the cartoon eye when it just starts growing for no reason. So yeah, that's how she did lose. I saw you in the chat, Jeremiah. She did lose, so she earned that dotted eye. But even though she lost, I just want to say that was a good fight. If you have some time and you didn't see it, go back and watch that fight. That was a good fight. I mean, really quickly, shout out to the ladies out here because they are putting up some good fights. And so congratulations. So that's all I got for the post up. This what we not gonna do. Oh damn, look at that graphic. Did y'all see that graphic? Okay. That's my first time seeing that graphic. I like that. All right, so look, this one is going to be fairly quick because this is a very, very sad one, and this video that I'm going to show you guys in a minute is just very, very depressing. But so I'll start on a happier high note. I was watching. I think it was Key and Peele. They had a skit, and they were going out to a Pee Wee game. I think the kids were like between like 6 and 10 or something like that, and there was this young kid out there who happened to be whichever comedian. It was his kid, and the kid was amazing. He was playing defense. He was was like Aaron Donald good. He was amazingly good. He was laying down all these punishing hits. And everybody in the stand just were in awe of this kid, and everyone just kept going on and on about, how great he is, and how he's definitely got a career in the NFL. And so then at some point, dad is taking on all these accolades, like, okay, this is great. And then finally he decides, okay, let me not make it all about me. So let me turn and try to talk to some people. And when he thinks that, this guy comes down, he goes, yo, your kid is amazing. I have got his name. I literally texted myself because I want to remember his name because I know he's going to make it into the NFL. And so then dad goes, oh, thank you so much. Like, which kid is your kid? And then dad goes, oh, no, my kid's not out here. I would never let them play football. Do you know what it does to their body at the end of their life? There's no way I would put my kid in football, but your kid is great. So it kind of just reminded me of the thing that I said before, when now we're seeing 20% decline in youth enrollment as far as football is concerning. And I think that's one of the reasons, is because we understand how bad this can be for you long term. So Lewis Leonard, if you don't know who he is, he was signed by the San Diego Chargers as an undrafted free agent in 2007. He played college football at Fresno State, and then he played with several teams: St. Louis, the Rams, the Browns, the Panthers, the Patriots, and I think the Denver Broncos at the end. But he only played a total of 25 games, and he only started in 4 of them during his pro football career. That's 25 professional games. So like I said, most kids, when they start playing very, very young. I think like 6 or 7 years old is when a lot of kids start playing. Most of the guys in the league started playing around that age, and they've played all the way through elementary school, middle school, high school, college, and then the NFL. So even though he only played 25 professional games, that's not the extent of who he is as a football player. He has taken a lot of hits. And that's just something that is really, it's hard to really put that into words. I think sometimes a picture speaks 1,000 words. And I think we really do need to start seeing images like this, because his wife, Lacey, shared a video to IG. Now, the first thing she posted was this little caption, which there's a song playing. We're not going to play the song because we don't have copyrights to the song. But she goes, love is not if or because, love is anyway, and even though, and in spite of. I may never find words beautiful enough to describe all that he means to me, but I'll spend the rest of my life searching for them because he's worth it. That makes me teary-eyed right now just reading it, because I know the video that's coming next. So I want to show you this video that she also posted, which is just, it's everything that he's going through. And she says, in sickness and in health, this is life after the NFL. This is my truth. Although I'm thankful my husband is part of the 1% who made it to the league, each day that I see him suffering physically and mentally or emotionally, I can't help but ask God to keep us wrapped in his arms. Now, so he's struggling mentally. You see right there, he's struggling to walk. They're doing brain scans. I don't know if you saw, if we could, yeah. So there's one point where you see his knees are shot. He's having a hard time walking. They're injecting something in his knee. She has to push him in a wheelchair. Now he's getting brain scans. It's just a lot, and then you see them pointing to something that's clearly wrong in his brain. And it's just a lot. And sometimes, to be honest, I love football. When it's football season, I am either up in my apartment and I'm watching the first game, which comes on here in Los Angeles at 10 a.m., and I'm watching every single game I possibly can until the end of the night. I don't miss Monday Night Football. I don't miss Thursday Night Football. I live and die for football. But when you see stuff like this, I can tell you right now, as much as I love the game, my kid is not going to play football, because I can't make it make sense. I can't put my child in harm's way. And at this point in the game, we know that if you play football, you are in harm's way. And this is why I say the NFL is doing a horrible job, because what we should see next from the NFL, because this got out, obviously we're talking about it. So we should see the NFL talking about all the ways that they're supporting him, all the help that they're getting him, things of that nature. But the NFL has no way to combat the reality of what happens after life, after football. There's no way to combat that. And the NFL stays silent every time we hear of a player who commits suicide, but then we find out he has CTE. The gentleman I told you about last week who killed 5 people, including himself, they're now testing him for CTE, which seems almost pointless, because we know 99% of NFL players have CTE once they pass away. I think the only person that might not get it is Tom Brady, because he barely gets any hits, but everybody else probably has CTE. And the NFL really does stay quiet. If you have a moment, you should go watch the movie Concussion and see how bad it really is. Because keep in mind, in that movie, the NFL struck a deal with, I don't remember the production company. I don't remember. But anyway, they had struck a deal because NFL was doing everything they could to keep that movie from coming out. And the NFL was like, okay, we'll let you put out the movie and stop fighting you on it if you take out the most disparaging parts. Keep that in mind when you watch that movie, that they kept out the most disparaging parts of what CTE really does to the human body and the brain, or the brain and the emotional effects of it. It's a lot. And so it's unfortunate to see videos like these, but I think videos like these need to continue to come out because parents need to be aware of what they're essentially dooming their child to. I'm not saying that your child's not going to get old enough to make that decision and want to play on their own. And that's fine if once they're fully capable of making that decision on their own, they make it. But putting your kids in football at 6, 7 years old, that needs to stop. Because once you plant that seed, it's definitely going to grow. And I would be heartbroken if I knew that I planted the seed in my kid's life that had him living this life now that he's out of the NFL. But so what I'm not going to do is encourage parents to put their young children so they can start taking hits as early as middle school in football. I just can't make it make sense. I can't make it make sense. But that's all I got for what we not going to do. Devin, what did you, seeing that video, did it totally break? It broke my heart. I literally cried the first time I saw it. I was like, oh my God, especially her words, that now, all the responsibility of taking care of this very large man, and she seems like a tiny woman, but this very large man, that all falls on her. That's got to be enormously difficult. And, definitely my prayers are with her, but that's got to be difficult. But what did you think seeing that video?
Yeah, I mean, I think it's heartbreaking and it's devastating for both of them. It's really sad to see how his NFL career left him in this kind of shape. And in one of my very first videos that I ever did for the Fumble, I mentioned that I was never going to allow my kids to play football, and I got dragged in the comment section. And I remember just being very surprised that people had such a strong visceral reaction to me saying that I was going to be a bad mom and all of that. But the truth is when you see how these athletes suffer, how some of them just go off the deep end, how they have these horrendous physical issues like we just saw, how could you sit there and feel right about subjecting your kid to that? So, and I'm not shaming anybody that is putting their kid into football, but it is just, you are kind of setting them up for a childhood or a lifetime potentially of injuries. And that's just a really hard thing for me to come to terms with. His wife is an extremely strong woman for being able to stand by him and go through this. And he's lucky to have that support. I think there are a lot of people who wouldn't be able to manage the stress of that kind of situation. But it's heart-wrenching to watch that.
Yeah, and I just want to address a comment in the chat from Jeremiah. He says, why should the NFL support him? Because they have to. Because the NFL knows exactly. The NFL has known that this was going to be life after football before we knew this was going to be life after football. And there's documents that show they knew what this was. So my thing is this. Like I said, when you have a 20% decline in parents enrolling their kids in football, football starts from very young. The desire to play football starts about, like I said, about 6 or 7. And that's why, and they continue that on into college. So what ultimately is going to happen is if you stop enrolling your kid around 6 and 7, that means that ultimately you're going to get a 20% drop in college kids playing football, which means you're going to have a smaller pool to pull from to get to the NFL. And over time, as we see stories like this, that's going to continue to get higher and higher and higher until one day the NFL is going to be it's going to be a different league. And if you want to get in front of that, if you want to still keep the caliber of players that you have now, you have to show them that, yes, this is what your life is going to look like, most likely post NFL, especially if you're playing on the line. This is almost a given for you. These are the things we have in place to make sure your life is not that hard for you or your loved ones. And because until you start showing them that, I am telling you, there's no upside to this. Because all the money in the world doesn't change the fact that you can't walk, you can't remember where you're going, you have spouts of anger that you can't explain, huge bouts of depressions that you can't explain. None of that makes anything that came before that and all that money makes sense. the NFL has to try to figure out a way to make it make sense and say, yes, even though this is a reality for you, we are going to figure out ways to support you through that so you can have the best quality of life, even though these are going to be the things you're going to deal with. And if they don't, this is going to come back and bite them in the butt. I'm telling you, it might not be in the next 5 years, but in the next 10 years, the more we know about this, the more detrimental this is going to be to the NFL.
Yeah, it's in the NFL's best interest to set something up for these players so that the transition to normal life can be easier for them and so that they can have the support that they need that doesn't come simply from the family that surrounds them. So I agree with you 100%. The NFL, if they want to preserve the league and keep it going well into the future, it's time that they start setting something up now. But as we've seen with the NFL, they seem to like to wait till the very last minute to put anything in place. So who knows if they'll actually listen to our advice, but hopefully they do, for the players' sake and for the league, because I think we would both be sad to have a future 10, 15, 20 years from now where there's no football. So very interesting subject here. Thanks for sharing that, Jackie. I think it's time that we wrap up the show. So you guys, we're going to be back tomorrow at 9 a.m. Pacific Standard Time. So subscribe, tap the bell, leave a comment below, share this video with your friends, give it a thumbs up. It really helps us out, and we like to see how many of you appreciated our video. And we will see you guys tomorrow. Have a great Monday, everybody. Bye.